You might need to scoot over.
What's up, everybody?
Hey! We're going to scoot a little bit closer in together because we have a special guest. So, John Caspian just ran off, but I'm John, and this is...
Matt Blaisdell. Welcome to Gigabytes.
Yeah. So, with Matt here, he's one of our resident Star Wars players and all words are tough. Denominations of Star Wars, which is pretty awesome. But the big thing we're talking about today is going to be the announcement of X-Wing 2.0.
Yeah.
So I'll let Matt kind of give the summarization of it.
All right, so let's start with talking about like what they're releasing with the first wave of products. So we have, for Rebels, you're getting the X-Wing and Y-Wing expansion packs, Empire, the TIE Advanced TIE Fighter, and for Scum, you're getting the Protectorate Starfighter and the Slave 1.
Okay.
These are they're not just repacks. The models actually look different. Like the X-Wing has moving wings, the Y-Wing looks like the turret's a separate part, whereas previously it was just kind of molded to the top. So, and they also have new content. But the biggest one is obviously the starter set. So the starter set has all of the new stuff you will need to play X-Wing. It comes with the same stuff you got in the original starter box, the X-Wing and 2 TIE Fighters, and it comes at the same price point too, which is quite good. It also comes with all of the new stuff you need to play the game. The new maneuver templates now have the center line marked on them, so you can use them for the new barrel rolls or the new Talon rolls if you need to, which is pretty significant. Although for most maneuvers, you can still use the old maneuver templates. That'll work perfectly fine.
Okay.
Like dice still work the same. One of the biggest changes for the new edition is the maneuver dials. So if you look at this is one of the old maneuver dials. Look at the back, it's just perfectly blank. The front side, all you can see is the maneuver you've selected. This is kind of a problem because if you're trying to select a maneuver and you're a newer player, you don't see all of the available maneuvers, and if it's just on the table upside down, you don't even know what ship this is. So the new ones have the ship name written on the back, and the front face of the maneuver dial is completely open, and it has just a little arrow on the outside that you use to select.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can see all of your maneuvers, and you know what ship the dial belongs to, which is a really good change. They also changed the green maneuvers to blue maneuvers, presumably to help colorblind people. That's my best guess of that.
Yeah, no, that's been a big trend in the gaming industry in general, is being aware, because colorblindness is an issue, and it's more prevalent than people think.
Oh, yeah. But the big one that everybody's asking about is the conversion kits. So there is a conversion kit available for every faction. Price point on that is $50. The conversion kit includes at least 2 copies of every ship. For some of the cheaper ships like the Z95, the A-Wing, the TIE Fighter, you get multiple copies. Like Z95 and TIE Fighters are the cheapest ships, so you get 4 of each of those.
Okay.
It's also significant that a few of the ships got moved from either a small or a large base to a medium base, which is a brand new base size. The conversion kit will have the bases for those as well.
Okay, awesome.
So, like, for example, the Rebel kit has 2 ARC 170s and 2 K-Wings. Well, it also has 4 medium bases because all of those got shifted to medium bases.
That makes sense.
So then the starter box will literally be the same as this, basically, but with the new
with
new
all
stuff.
Same as that, with all the new content, same price point and everything. So
that's awesome. So let's actually get into discussion about why this is happening. So so whenever there's a new edition of a game, usually companies do this for multiple reasons. The first one being, getting new players into it. Because at a certain point, like a game's lifespan will, like it'll be explosive at first, and then it'll kind of go up to a zenith, and then it'll kind of deteriorate. But Matt, what do you think some of the issues were with X-Wing, and what led to them deciding to do a whole new edition?
So one of the big issues was that it was starting to become very inaccessible for a newcomer. Like if you come into X-Wing and you're like, I want to build a list, well, the list I would give you would be a bunch of ships that you would buy basically just for upgrade cards. So they're trying to fix that with the new edition. The new conversion sets have over 170 upgrade cards.
Wow,
so they should give you multiple copies of each and basically every upgrade card in the game, at least as of right now. They're also giving veteran players who already own all the ships ways to get the new content without necessarily having to buy a brand new ship sculpt. They haven't really talked about how they're going to do that yet. But one of the other big reasons was just the accretion factor, like slowly building stuff over time had gotten to the point where everything they released was just comboing with too many other things. So they were just having trouble releasing new stuff that was good and that was playable, but that also wasn't breaking the game or just hitting the meta like a freight train.
Gotcha.
But another major factor was they wanted to give themselves a lot of freedom for design. So if you look at, for example, the original ship tiles, you only see the 90-degree firing arc in front. That's actually, like, it's not bad for the original design, but it doesn't leave them a lot of room to move. Like, if I want to give a special pilot ability to only shoot things in the back arc, like, there's no real way to do that with this ship tile. So the new tiles have all 4 quadrants marked on all ships. It also has the bullseye arc marked on all ships, and then it has the cardinal directions, the, you know, straight down the middle and straight across the side. This lets them do all kinds of fun things that they couldn't do before. Like, for example, there's a lot of cards that interact with the bullseye arc. Well, previously you couldn't do that because a lot of ships didn't even have bullseye arcs printed on them. You also, I'm not even sure if they did this, but like canonically the A-Wing was supposed to be able to shoot its blasters like almost completely behind it.
Yeah.
So now you could be like, you know, give it an upgrade or something where they could just shoot in their back arc. You know, if they wanted to do that, they would have the option because now the back arc's actually printed on it.
Right.
Whereas if you try to do that in first edition, you'd basically just make it a turret, right? Because it's only in arc or out of arc. It was just binary.
Wow. Now, is that base size, you say that's a small?
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of them will be medium now?
This is a small. No, most of this game is still going to be small. Only a few of them got moved over to medium.
Gotcha.
It's like
Yeah.
the Slave One, the Arc 170, the K-Wings, TIE Punisher, and a few others.
So some things got scaled from a large base to a medium, and some things from a small to a medium, right?
Like, for example, this is a K-Wing. This is the small base the K-Wing is supposed to fit on.
I mean, that seems fine.
Yeah. It doesn't exactly work. So the K-Wing got moved up to a large base. The Arc 170 is a similarly ridiculous model that is also supposed to go on tiny base.
Yeah.
So both of those got scaled up naturally. The only major change in terms of factions is that now the Slave One, Boba Fett ship, cannot be taken in Empire anymore. It is only available to Scum.
Yeah. Which, I mean, makes sense. He's a bounty hunter first and foremost.
Well, the reason he came out first and foremost, originally for Empire, was that Scum didn't exist at the time, and they wanted to put him in the game.
Yeah,
so, like, it makes sense that that now moves to the Scum faction exclusively.
You can't really have a Star Wars game without Boba Fett in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not familiar. The Scum faction is basically just bounty hunters?
It's bounty hunters, crime syndicates, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So like Jabba the Hutt's like syndicates in there.
Yeah, Jabba the Hutt's in there. You have the Black Sun pirates.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like. It's not just the bounty hunters, even though they have
all the bounty hunters.
Yeah, I was going to say they have all the bounty hunters in there now, which is kind of cool. But you can play as more or less a neutral, in the truest sense of neutral, out for yourself kind of faction.
I like that.
So the Empire is your lawful evil, you know, your rebels chaotic good, and then you got true neutral right in the middle with scum and villainy, which I personally like.
That's cool.
So.
That's cool.
But yeah, all the Star Wars stuff is like really exciting. Just because for me, that was a big problem with getting into X-Wing itself. Was just the amount of things I needed to buy to have a competent list, and it was a lot of. I remember getting some demo games because I only got interested in the game after Scum and Villainy was announced. So I got some games in, and there was a lot of explaining about like, you know, oh, because I have upgrades XYZ, my ship can now do this and this and this and this, and it was not a easy thing for me to wrap my head around, and the amount of like work I would have to go to make sure I knew exactly what was going on was kind of off-putting. But now with this new edition, I'm really excited because I still collected a lot of the ships. I mean, I got the Houndstooth, I got Bosk's ship, I got some of the other ones, but now I can just buy this upgrade pack, plus the new starter set's pretty essential because it'll have the new rulebook in it, right?
Oh yeah, and the new starter set will have the new damage deck, so you essentially have to have that. But one great thing is that if you pre-order, always pre-order, if you pre-order, you will get a special like full-size damage deck. So instead of having the smaller upgrades cards, you'll have the bigger ones.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, what is like a significant change from the first to the next that we know of?
One of the biggest ones is the way turrets work. So they essentially work the way the Shadowcaster works. So the Shadowcaster has 4 quadrants marked on it, and you would have a little indicator on the base pointing to what quadrant you could shoot out of with your turret.
Okay.
And you could take an action to shift that to another quadrant.
Oh, cool.
Basically, all turrets work like that. Like you have a little indicator that will say where your turret's effectively facing, and you have to take an action to change it. So instead of just shooting anywhere around you forever, you have to plan ahead and try to actually, you know, think about where your opponent's going to be.
Okay.
And the fun thing about the Millennium Falcon is if you look at the Falcon model, the top turret is facing forward, the bottom turret is facing backwards. Well, it actually has a double-sided token.
Really?
So it can shoot out
awesome.
of two. So it has 2 different opposite arcs.
Can it do the same, 2 on the same?
No.
Both turrets facing forward?
No, because they always face different directions.
Gotcha.
Okay, so they're always facing opposite. So if you decided to put one facing forward, that means the other one would be automatically facing backwards.
Yeah.
And
That's
same
balanced,
with left and right. So that's kind of cool.
And if you look at the Falcon tile, like if you look at an X-Wing tile, the front arc is marked in red because that's where it normally attacks from. The Falcon doesn't have that at all. So
Okay.
it can only attack where the turrets are facing. It doesn't have
gotcha.
it doesn't have a default way to fire.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember playing the old X-wing games on the computer, and
Yeah.
that was, you could have both turrets forward.
Yeah.
Basically, that's cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, I like that. And so changing the turret facing, is that something you have to indicate on the movement dial, or is that something like you
No,
do
that's-
when you activate the ship?
It's indicated on the ship model. Like the Shadowcaster had a little like arrow that you put like on the base, and you would just shift that like as
Okay.
needed.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Oh, and the app.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. So that's a big thing. Because I heard about that, and that was really exciting.
Yeah.
Because me and Matt both come from War Machine and Hordes, and they had this great companion app called War Room, which lets you build your list, track damage, and all that sort of thing. So I hear the X-Wing one is going to be similar, or if not more.
The X-Wing one is more and less. So what they're doing is they're basically all of the cards they're going to try to keep as hard and fast as possible. They're not going to change those if it is in their ability to do so.
Okay.
But all the point costs are going to be tracked exclusively on the app. Like if you look at all the cards, there's no point cost listed on any of them.
Okay.
So they're going to, I believe they said they're going to look at that and readjust at the start of each tournament season. If stuff's too powerful, maybe changes point cost up.
Okay.
If stuff's too weak, maybe change point cost
cool.
up.
So
it
they kind
gives
of took
them-
GW's lead on that a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe
Inspiration, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with it, you get to build your lists. Correct. Is there any damage tracking or?
I don't think there's damage. Like I think all of that's still done physically.
Okay.
The app is just there to give them flexibility to make spot changes on the fly effectively.
So-
Can you like instantly share a list with someone else that has the app? That'd be
I don't know. Like they haven't released a whole lot of details for the app at this point.
Yeah.
So it is just essentially a list building app, correct?
Yeah.
Nothing more currently. So those people who are looking at the game, once again, this is done to make the game more of a living edition, which is a great thing. Games Workshop has that going for itself as well with the chapter approved, but that's all in print. Privateer Press does it through the CID. Fantasy Flight will be doing it through this app to where they can adjust things. We were talking about this, I think, last Friday, where a lot of times balance really comes down to point cost. Like as long as the rule itself is not broken, you can always balance it through points, right?
Yeah, every now and then you find a rule that's just so weird that like increasing its point cost makes it unplayable, but reducing it like makes it way too good.
Yeah.
But
What's an example of that?
something will be like the Mage Hunter Assassin in War Machine.
Yeah.
She has decapitation, so she doubles all damage that beats your armor. Well, it's really hard to find a good point cost for that because the damage could be one-shotting a heavy jack or doing literally nothing.
Yeah.
So like because the swing is so high, it's hard to find a good point cost for something like that.
Correct.
So that's one where you'd have to adjust the rule itself?
Yeah.
Like you either have to adjust the rule or just like best guess the point cost and hope it doesn't break anything.
Correct. Yeah, it's things with like large amounts of variance in it are always difficult to
Yeah.
balance because you look for an average, right? But in certain systems you can't even really find that because like at the time you're just rolling a dice, right, to determine a success or not, and you can't really find an average on a single dice.
Right. So, if looking at X-Wing, one example would be the Reinforce action, at least as it existed in first edition. They're actually changing it in second edition. Reinforce, just every time they attacked you, you added one evade result on top of your die. So if there was a 2-attack ship, the best they could ever do if they were shooting you while you were reinforced was 1 damage. And that's if they get a perfect roll and you blank your defense. So that's super hard to damage. That's super hard to balance because it will make you invincible or it will do nothing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, so it's one of those things always to look at, like variance in itself, because these are all the best way to make a tabletop game is to add in elements of chance to it, right?
Yeah.
It allows people of different skill levels to compete against each other because, hey, you could just roll really well, or someone who's a really great player could roll really poorly, or any combination in between. And it gives the ability to have the games play out in different ways. But yeah, sometimes it becomes very difficult to balance because you're relying on a single die roll to determine an outcome. I'm looking at you, Age of Sigmar, with your turn initiative order.
Oh, Flames of War was so bad about that because
Yeah.
like if your army if you were missing half of your units to start a turn Flames of War, you roll a single die for your morale, and if you fail, you just lose the game.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flames of War had a
Whoa.
single die morale system that would cause you to just your whole army rolls off the
Yeah.
table.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
It was very punishing.
Yeah, that's punishing. Yeah.
Isaac was commenting about how he's really excited that there's an official app. Yeah, and I think official apps are the way that you're going to see a lot of these larger companies going, just because it allows them to protect their product, and then also it's a way of keeping things clear and concise to it. We just saw the release of 40K's Army Builder, Games Workshop. You should have left that in the oven a little bit longer. So it does exactly what it promised to do. It makes you a PowerPoint list, right?
Right.
Which is fine. Except no one really plays with PowerPoints, except for when they're getting into the game. I actually still like PowerPoints for like intro games and things like that.
Yeah, sure.
But this isn't what the community as a whole was really looking for.
I know they're doing a separate one, right?
Correct. Yeah. So they're eventually going to release like an army building app, and the army builder is going to have the option between PowerPoints and then match play points and all that sort of things. I understand that's a lot to balance. Like, you know, you have to go through, you know, all the upgrades and the warlord traits and the relics and things like that, which is a tremendous amount of information. You did that to yourself. But it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just, it's a lot. And that's something that makes the game so successful, is that you can have like 30 different armies that all have their unique abilities and traits and things like that, which is fantastic. It makes it a nightmare to keep track of on an app.
But they really could crowdsource it like Battlescribe does, though.
Yeah, well, so once again, it's ensuring they have their product protection, their brand protection.
Yeah.
So they could source it out to another company, and I think they probably are, or at least they have hired on people who are specifically dedicated to this one task.
Now, do you think they'll do the same thing that War Room does, where they have the basic app, and then if you want to get a faction, you have to pay a couple of dollars for, or in their case, it might be like $30 for that codex, I guess, equivalent to get the information on there?
So it could be that, or it could be, so it's like either you're going to buy and unlock codexes, or you're going to pay a monthly fee.
Gotcha.
So Azir is their Age of Sigmar app, which once again is not nearly as complex as 40K in terms of list building, but you pay like a $2 monthly fee on it to have access to everything.
It's not bad.
Which I think is fine. So I think if they did 40K, if they bumped it up to like $5, because, you know.
Now, what kind of information is on that app?
So it allows you to choose your general's trait, his war gear, and then you're allowed to effectively choose the weapon loadouts on your squads, or units, terminology, and it allows you to pick up your battalions as well. So like you can add that battalion thing in there. You can also add allies.
Does it show your unit stats, or do you have to have the book for that?
No, it does not show unit stats.
Gotcha.
So it will just show you how many wounds overall that unit has and what weapons they're equipped with. So you're going to have to go back to your either War Scroll cards or your book to see what the actual rules are, which I think is fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, like I don't need, especially for 40K, if like I had to pull up like a unit page and it gave me all the special rules available to that unit, I would be reading that unit entry for a long time. Like quick stats I think are fine, and it's something that if they really wanted to get the game more streamlined, is something they should put on their phone. But if anything else, this is just a great way. The X-Wing app, the 40K one, Age of Sigmar War Room, these are all fantastic ways to verify lists in a tournament setting super quick.
Yep.
So I know as a tournament organizer, I've done a lot of War Machine apps or War Machine tournaments, and it's really easy to say, hey, pull out your War Room, show me your list, and it'll tell me if there's any errors in the list construction. Basically, if it's a legal list, hey, good to go, get playing games. And so I'm hoping X-Wing does a similar thing, where you can, you know, put in whatever your upgrade cards are, your ships are, and be like, this is my squad, let's go.
And if you don't have access to a device you can run the app, they'll also, I believe, will have a PDF on the website that'll have the most recent point values.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned PowerPoints, because there's a weird, like, similar system that they're doing for X-Wing. They have like a series of pre-made builds that'll be on a reference card that have a certain like power level to them. Like it's like Luke with R2D2 and proton torpedoes, and it has like a power level, but it's not a distinct point cost. So it's kind of like a quick build option.
Yeah, for new players especially, right?
Just want to get to playing, you can just use this quick reference card and build up, and you're good to go.
That would be what I would do to start. Because I know I did that when the first indexes came out for 8th edition. Yeah. I was for sure like, okay, let's just PowerPoint, like,
just
throw all the units
get stuff on the table and see what happens.
Because at the time I was like, okay, I don't know what any of the special weapons are.
You're not going to be able to build a balance list at that point anyway, so you might as well just see what happens.
Yeah. That's cool.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of rolling dice, Van Saar for Necromuna, these guys look awesome.
Yeah.
One dude with a freaking like plasma shoulder-mounted launcher thing. You see that right there? Yeah.
So if you ever wanted like Cyberpunk mixed with the Predator,
yes,
go
yeah.
go with House Van Saar. They're the newest ones. They actually have some really cool, like, even if you don't play Necromunda, they have a lot of neat modeling options to them. The one being the energy shield.
Yes.
That they think, like, the shoulder-mounted launcher is really cool. There's a lot of really nice, like, new sculpting techniques or digital sculpting techniques that they put in with that box itself. So thanks, GW, on that. I'm going to take a look at this box.
It's a beautiful thing.
So these guys are great, especially if you are running, you know, let's say you are running like a Shadowrun campaign or any sort of like cyberpunk setting. It's really awesome because it is different from a lot of Games Workshops. They're not covered in skulls and Aquillas or chaos symbols, so I really appreciate that. They still fit perfectly within the world itself, but it is very different from
everywhere you dig in the 40K universe. Just piles of skulls
everywhere.
Like, I don't know why the rest. Like, I think someone has like a torso locked on disintegration beam in the 40K universe, where it's like, all right, cool, like. Bolters explode everything but the head, so like when they're like Space Marines are shooting people, you just see like heads flying off in the distance.
And like you shoot them in the head, and the head's fine, the body just disintegrates.
Yeah,
that's true.
But like, you know, it's nice. It's nice to see a variety. It's also nice to see a variety outside of Xenos. So these are humans that look different than all the other humans, which is really nice.
I was just now that I think about it, like Chaos has faces on like their kneecaps and stuff.
Yeah,
like all the Chosen have like faces screaming on their kneecaps.
So, anyone who writes 40K fiction, can you please talk about like the great like head exodus of like the year 25,000, where like everyone who died just put their head in a jar and like put on robot bodies, and this is like it was hundreds of millions of people who did this to survive forever, but it went terribly wrong, which is why there's skulls everywhere.
Obviously, the old ones made the heads out of titanium, but the rest of the body's just normal bone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so. Which is why like skulls are the sturdiest building elements for like all the chaos factions. It's all coming together, guys. We're getting there. So this is head canon.
With some mortar, you're good to go.
Yeah,
skulls is like proper canon now. I think GW, get on it.
I think they're already on it.
Yeah, no, they already got it set.
Like I remember the Relevant Battle game boards, like all the cracks just had skulls filled in them. Like,
wait a minute. Let's see if these guys have skulls.
They're chaos, and they're actually not. They're
not.
No,
they're
terrible.
not decked out
Yeah,
skulls.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh nope, there's skulls in his hands. Okay, too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
So this is the new Blood Bowl, guys.
Not as bad as it was. Remember, Games Workshop tried copyrighting skulls back in the day, so I understand.
With a Z?
No, just skulls. Like if you use too many skulls in your design, Games Workshop's going to come after you.
Any more than 14.
Correct. If anyone wants to start a Games Workshop themed death metal band called Skulls and Mortar, you let me know.
Yes.
We'll get that going. I don't play any musical instruments. I'm just more of an ideas person, but I'll be in the band. I got a triangle.
And a skull.
And a skull.
Cowbell skull.
Yeah.
I have a skull,
all you need. So with these new releases, we also have a couple of new publications to go with them. Gang War 3 releases with Van Saar. Gang War 3 has all the rules for the Van Saar gang, and also a lot of the new Forge World stuff that's been coming out. So like the weapon upgrade sets for the other gangs.
Asher, Goliath, Warlock. No,
I don't think Orlok has upgrade
but a bounty
sets.
hunter for Orlok.
Yes. So there's a bounty hunter for that, and they also they also have the animal stats and rules on there. So the Scump Croc, I think he's called, for Goliath. Originally I wanted to play Escher, but then Goliath got a crocodile pet, so
done.
You guys know where I'm going. But yeah, plus new scenarios and ways to play. So if you have Necromunda, you have a passing interest in Necromunda, come in and grab one of these books. They're going to be all available on Saturday.
Yeah, and a big game night for Necromunda is on Thursdays.
Correct.
Ricky, our champion for the skirmish size stuff for GW, is doing that.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's been really great for Thursdays for Games Workshop because we literally have games going from open to close.
Yes.
So if you're interested in either Kill Team, we're currently using the older rule set. The new rule set should be out in the near future, but we're still running Kill Team. So if you play a Xenos and you don't want to be like I don't want to play Necromunda because I don't get to use my Tau, play Kill Team with us. It's a lot of fun. We just converted the rules over to 8th edition to get you kind of going with that. As soon as the new rule set's out, we'll be running that all the time.
I'll definitely play that a lot, for sure.
And then we have Necromunda, which is really exciting. So if you want some gang warfare.
And check out these dice. They're like see-through teal.
Yeah.
You can't see that. Never mind.
No, it's really difficult to show off how cool these are. But they have...
Come in and look at them.
Yeah, they have the little Van Saar gang symbol, which is a skull
Well, obviously.
with spider legs sticking out of it. So they
What
almost
else would
had
you
it.
combine a skull with?
Yeah,
I'm almost crying here. Oh my gosh.
it just makes me think of the little like skull spiders from Zelda.
Yes.
Yeah, just got to wait for it to turn around to smack it in the back.
Remembers the Lord of the Rings, the skull trap, where like all the skulls
cards.
pour out?
Yeah. So we have the
All that.
cards, the dice, the book, and the gang. And also with this release, we have another small scale specialty game from Games Workshop. We have the Chaos Blood Bowl team, which is oh no,
Tilted
lighting.
down.
Oh yeah, we have all the windows open, so it's
The
nice.
Doom
Right in front of his face. Now
Lords.
keep talking.
Yeah. So the Doom Lords are the new Chaos team. They hadn't done a Chaos Plastic team yet, so it's really nice to see. And it's a combination of humans and beastmen. So that's going to scratch a lot of itches for folks. Like, I know I want to pick up one of those and mod the beastmen into Zangors, so I can have a Zinch themed team, which I think would be kind of neat.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And play some Blood Bowl. So we got this. We also got the booklet. It's Blitzmania. I believe
yeah.
it's
Is it
Blitzmania
back there?
2. Yeah. And that's going to have the rules for the Chaos team, plus new campaign rules and all that sort of stuff. Anything you expect from these smaller publications, it's got. It's also just in a nice format that you want to keep around. So I really like these like smaller books from Games Workshop because it doesn't make your book carrying.
There's a knife
paraphernalia.
with a skull on it.
Yep.
There you go.
There's a
Obvious.
lot of
Does that have a
skulls in that
skull?
book. There's also like a little toad guy in that book, which is pretty neato.
Really?
Yeah,
I'll find him.
I like him. He'll probably be coming out through Forge World. Is that guy?
Yeah.
Gobbler.
Gobbler, Grimlick.
Yeah.
Grimlich?
Grimlick.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see if-
Whatever.
whatever
He's
you
right
said.
in the middle at the bottom there. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can.
But yeah, so they announced a lot of new star players, especially towards the Chaos themed thing. So if you're playing Chaos or would like to play Chaos in Blood Bowl, check it out.
Wow, cool.
Joshua Lee Center runs a lot of our events for Blood Bowl, and we just got the new campaign kit for it. So we'll have some stuff going up soon for it if it's not already up right now.
Skulls.
And so we're going to go from the old world fantasy to the new world fantasy with fish people.
Yes.
So the Deepkin just released the last three characters. Thank you, John. We're going to have the Tidecaster, who is one of the not 400-point options to cast spells in your army, which is really important, especially if you want to get some spells early in the game. We have the Soul Scryer. If you guys play Deepkin, or are you're going to play against them, he's going to be a really important guy to look out for because he lets the army deploy things from table edges. So he's got a really strong ability, especially for that fast-moving cav. And his general trait, I believe it's a general trait, he like gets to target an enemy unit and says everyone in the Deepkin army gets +3 inches of movement for charges versus
Whoa.
that model.
That's cool.
So
Is that
he gets to bait the
At
line
the beginning of the battle or like per round?
per round.
Oh, that's cool.
But it does reduce the minimum charge distance to ½ inch instead of an inch itself. So you're effectively gaining 2.5 inches of threat, which is really strong. And then we have the Soul Scryer. He's the guy that likes to lead souls around, so he really helps the Namarti out. So if you're running Namarti thralls, those like pale skin, no eyeball, rune-marked forehead dudes,
Fantasy Incubi?
yes, he's going to help those guys out. And also, if you guys play Dark Eldar, these are a lot of great Dark Eldar conversions.
perfect.
Yeah, so
You
if
can
you
play him as Incubi or Mandrakes.
yeah, well, even these characters, you can run them as Archons,
Yeah.
and things like
Oh,
that
yeah.
too. So
This dude's got like a fish on a hook. kind
no,
of?
well, the fish is floating beside him. They're just using that line as a way to
Oh, I see. They attach it to his hair. That's cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So
GW.
these guys are absolutely exceptional. They really push the limits in terms of their modeling capabilities because they have all these fish floating around them, and they do that with like some really kind of cute and thoughtful ways. So if there's like a strand of hair, it'll connect to the back fin of a fish. So like you look at the model and you're like, oh man, that fish is floating right next to him. This is kind of neat.
It's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
this, the Soul Scryer has little itty bitty piranhas.
Yeah, and he gets to like attack with those bitty piranhas. Like he has
What?
like, yeah, like one of his ranged
No.
attacks is like shoal of fish. It just shoots fish at you.
Just a piranha gun.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's cool.
What is more scary than a piranha gun? For those biology nerds out there, piranhas have the largest bite force ratio of any other planet, any other animal on the planet.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
More than crocodiles or alligators.
Scary.
Crocodilians. more than sharks too. Like piranhas will like wreck you up. They just have little tiny mouths.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So just like little bits at a time.
Correct. Yeah.
You got to throw
like,
1,000 of them at.
Yeah. But if you shoot a gun full of piranhas, that's really scary.
I would like to see that actually. I would
Yeah.
if that's the next wave of the stuff.
I mean, he already has a piranha gun, so.
Is it like a full cannon?
Well, no, like
just-
he just like
He just kind of like
He just
He's
throws,
like-
he just throws water at you, and it's
he
got
points
piranhas
his
in it.
finger like
Yeah.
Aquaman, and they just kind of come out of nowhere.
Like he has that like little jar next to him. Like I think it's supposed to be like a
Oh.
scryer thing, but it's probably just chum. And he's just like, yeah, and then you get hit with like 1,000 piranhas.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see that when it's built because that doesn't look.
So it's like
Oh, that!
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So it's like floating next to him. So he just like grabs the chum out of it and throws it at you.
That's
Has
cool.
wind chimes on him, which is kind of like a weird thing. I don't know.
Wind chime.
I don't like wind chimes.
Obviously, you need wind chimes underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of wind under there.
Yeah, well, I mean, how else are you gonna like know which way the wind's blowing?
You got to stay current.
Oh God.
2 more and Mark's gonna show up.
Yep.
Yeah. Or Peter.
It's like the Bloody Mary of puns.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are all the new releases that are out this week from Games Workshop. So Necromunda, Blood Bowl, Age of Sigmar. It was a huge week.
Yeah.
Next week we have more for the Deepkin, which is the giant turtle. I'm super excited about that. And then also we have the Deathwatch book.
Oh yes. Oh, Deathwatch.
So I'm expecting to see 2 weeks of releases for Deathwatch. So this first week is going to be the book. The following week is probably going to be the upgraded Primaris guys.
shoulder pads and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
so I expect to see like a upgrade kit, and then also like you can buy Deathwatch aggressors or Deathwatch
Yes,
intercessors.
yes.
Like that seems pretty likely.
Yeah, like what they've done with the other chapters.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Personally, I think if you want to run Primaris Marines, Deathwatch is going to be the way to do it. Just because
sure.
they're giving you the option to mix and match your units. And like having a variety of different types of models in the unit is super awesome. But the big thing is applying those universal special rules to the entire squad.
Yes, yes.
So like having the ability to hit and run with aggressors is great because you get to charge in, like do your business, and then you get to walk away and they try charging you back. You got those Flamestorm gauntlets.
And you're pretty close to him as well.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. You're going to hit those for Overwatch. So there's a lot of really neat things that you can do with mixing and matching. And I think that's going to turn the Primaris from like I guess I'll take Primaris to I really want to take these Primaris.
Yes. And it makes them look a little because I'm not a huge fan of the ultramarine aesthetic of just like
Yeah.
plain blue,
Right.
plain golds. Like
The-
it's okay. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's solid. But like I like the detail. I always like the Grey Knights for that.
Yeah.
Having all the detailed stuff on the armor is cool.
Right. Yeah. So like with the Deathwatch upgrades, you're going to see those like the super ornate left shoulder guards that have the Inquisition symbols. And then you're probably going to see some other things. I don't know if they're going to do specific shoulder pads like they did with the other ones.
Okay.
They might just leave them blank and you have to put like the decals on them, which I think is fine, especially if you're consistent about it, And then you're probably going to see some other like little bit of upgrades, like some different head options and all that.
And when's Harlequin coming out?
Harlequin will be after that.
Okay.
So the proposed release schedule is Deathwatch, Harlequin, Imperial Knight is what the release window is supposed to be like.
Then
And-
orcs.
Yes, and so that's the big rumors that orcs are after Imperial Knights. And it seems pretty likely. Everything's kind of pointing that way. But once again, we won't see any confirmation from Games Workshop until they kind of get through. After Harlequins, we might see another like this is what's coming in the next 3 months, which would be nice to see. But once again,
so get these. It'll tide you over till. Okay, good. Sorry.
One more.
One more.
One more.
Mark will just start pondering.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. So all that's going on with Games Workshop is really exciting. The Fantasy Flight announcement was another kind of like big shakeup. I wasn't expecting that.
No.
And we even had playtesters in the store for a long time. James Ayers, Sam Talley, I think a couple other guys were all in the playtest.
Yeah, Nick White's usually up here too.
Yeah. And so all these guys were working on it and keeping their lips tight, which is great because we don't want them to get in trouble. But it's been in development for a really long time, and we have a lot of local sources for Star Wars knowledge. Matt being one of them. But yeah, we have a lot of great things coming along for Star Wars X-Wing 2.0, which is when is it supposed to release? Gen Con?
So they're
Soft release?
a soft release at Gen Con, September 13th. Like they actually gave a street date, which is super weird for FFG.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that must mean that they already have the models like set and ready to
Yeah,
go.
like they're just waiting for everything to arrive or something.
Right.
so-
Yeah. Which is really important. So we are taking pre-orders, guys. We will give you a pre-order bonus if you get everything in a timely manner. So don't wait till September to let us know what you need for X-Wing.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Take the
popular.
opportunity now to get those in.
Yeah.
And also remember that in X-Wing, FFG has a list of critical components for a tournament that you can't use third-party versions of. One of them is the damage deck. So the only way you'll be able to use a different damage deck in a tournament is if you pre-order and get
Yeah.
the special damage deck.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so get that special damage deck through us. Get all those pre-orders in. I know I'm going to pre-order the core set and the Scum and Villainy box, probably the new Slave one because it is a different model.
Nice.
Gots to have me a Boba Fett. I just want to run like a big fatties list.
Well,
like,
you're gonna have Bosk, right?
always Bosk.
Always Bosk.
Bosk will always be my list.
Yes.
I don't care if it's like Bosk, IG-88, and Boba Fett. I'll run those 3 ships into the ground.
Oh, that's actually a really interesting change. So the droid pilots like IG-88, they don't have the focus action anymore. They have the calculate action, which is
Ooh.
a little weaker than focus.
Okay.
But it's also, if you get ion, which affects vehicles more, the only action you can do is focus. So a droid can't do anything while they're ion because they get affected by ion more because they're droids.
Whoa.
Oh, that makes sense.
Interesting.
That's kind of a cool change. That's nice and thematic.
Yeah.
I like
Fluffy.
that.
I like that.
So yeah, once again, all these new changes, and as we're getting more info about the game, as Fantasy Flight does articles, we'll have
Yeah.
more discussions, and we'll have more streams. We're expecting to crank up the streaming aspects for a lot of our games, and X-Wing is one that is actually really great to stream. It is just set up so well to get done for like a tournament style streamcast. So that's really cool. I did want to segue to where are we at on time?
Oh, we're good.
Oh, good. So Monpok just had a big announcement.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So this was a thing. I think Fantasy Flight's announcement was pretty calculated. They got there first because a lot of other game companies are now announcing the street dates for their fall lines. Monpok from Privateer Press is going to be their big kaiju beat 'em up game. So if you want to ever play as a giant robot, dinosaur, Cthulhu, Martian, and destroy a city, and have fun while doing it, check out Monpok. We got a street date for it. We got the prices for the starter sets. We have a pre-order thread going. I have been blasting our Monpok group, Monpok Atlanta. So if you guys are interested in the game, join that group. I've been constantly posting information about the game coming up in there. And yesterday they had a huge Q&A session about the game and about a lot of the new features and quality of life changes that they're doing. From Edition 1, which was 10 years ago, I believe, at this
Yeah,
point,
a while.
to Edition 2. So the game's going to be much streamlined. It's going to be easy to play. I know if no one else does it, I will be the champion of this game and make sure that we have constant events and tournaments for it.
Did they give the price point on the starter packs?
Yeah, they're $50 a pop.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So
that comes with a monster and 4 tanks.
So each starter box comes with 1 monster for the given agendas.
Okay.
Protectors, which are you're getting the guard robots in there.
Okay.
So think those like 1960s giant robot-esque guys, like
Looks like a guy in a suit.
yeah.
Nice.
But a really good-looking guy in a suit, like Brad Pitt got into a robot costume. Is that still relevant? Is like Brad Pitt still the pin?
I don't know. No,
anyways,
it would be what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Cool. Chris Pratt in a suit. Imagine Chris Pratt in a robot suit.
Yeah.
You're welcome. But you get him plus 4 tanks plus a repair
Oh, nice.
vehicle. So how it works out is basically you get a monster, you get a unit box, you get a map pack, which is going to contain a double-sided map to play on. It's going to be like a glossy, like poster print kind of thing
Okay.
for starting out. Which is going to be really nice because it gives you variety. You can flip over to side A and side B. You get 6 buildings in it.
Little skyscrapers?
Yeah, so they're going to be apartment buildings. Apartment buildings don't have any like special rules to them, but you get a bunch of them in the starter set, which means you don't really need to buy apartment buildings outside of there. And secondly, it just lets you play like right out of the get-go because you
Yeah,
have
that's
6.
nice.
So if you play against someone else, he's going to bring his 6 apartments, and then you have a city with 12
Yeah,
buildings in it.
you're good to go without having to buy any extra stuff.
Correct. So
Nice.
if you and your friends each pick up a starter set, you have pretty much a full game at the get-go.
Cool.
One of the cool things about it is since Privateer Press is doing the paint it your way thing, in the little unit brick that you get with it, you get to paint one of the tanks as an elite tank. In elites, you can only have one elite, I think, of each type is what the new rules are. Don't 100% quote me because the game's not officially out yet. We don't have any confirmation. But elite will give bonuses to all other units of that type around it. So, so you get to have like an elite tank, and he gets to give a buff to all the other tanks, and then you get the repair truck. One of the cool things a repair truck can do is actually fix buildings now.
Interesting.
So if you're trying to keep your buildings, your opponent from destroying your buildings, you can have that little repair tank being like, nope, just like
Can we
stack
put that on
those
the
bricks back up.
I-75 over there? It's construction. Actually get it done.
Yeah, nope.
God,
we would need a fleet
that's
of
not
those.
a building.
Yeah.
That's just terrain. That's just the terrain map.
Yeah. So for the destroyers, you're getting Gorgadra, who is like your Saturday morning Ultraman style Space Invader bad guy.
It's perfect.
Plus his little units, plus one support unit for him. And same with the buildings and all that. So with 2 starter packs, you have enough to play with. So with 1 starter pack, you have enough to play with anyone else who's ever bought a starter pack, which is really awesome. And these are coming out in September. And I want to say once again, September is going to be those starter packs, and then we're going to start getting shotgun monster releases as the game comes out.
I like it.
So, if you guys are interested about Monster Apocalypse or you have questions, feel free to ask away. And especially post in the Monpoc Atlanta group. If you're not a member, join. I'm around to talk about giant monsters all the time, especially giant dinosaur monsters.
I hope there's some.
There are.
There are?
Yeah, it's already confirmed. So with this new wave, they gave a lot of screenshots of model renders. Terra Khan, so Terra, Earth, and then Khan, not Terra Khan, like the Transformer. Different one. Is the leader of the Pterosaurs faction.
Gotcha.
So he's kind of like the closest thing to your Godzilla equivalent, but he's a little bit more dinosaur than Godzilla is, which I'm a fan of. But they gave his render, and they also did the Ares mothership for the Martians.
That's cool.
And they both look gorgeous. One of the big shifts from Monpoc version 1 to Monpoc 2 is they made it less cartoony. It's now it's more realistic. I would say it's
Pacific
more
Rim, kind of?
not
quite that far?
Not that far. Like, to me, it's more like American comic books.
Okay.
Which is where I find War Machine and Hordes is at. So it's a little bit. It's still a little bit on the cartoony side, but it still has that realistic edge. So
I'm waiting for a Team Fortress tabletop thing.
Um.
Although I know Fallout's coming out in May.
Yeah,
Well, wasn't
Fallout's
it supposed to be this month? Or is it still coming out?
I want to say it's this month. I'll need to double check. I don't
double-check
have
that.
confirmation on that.
Yeah.
But it's really neat. So with all these, there's all these new games coming out, and I expect to start seeing a lot of new companies, or not a lot of new companies, a lot of companies making new announcements about their fall line that's going to be showing up. So expect a lot of things coming out in the near future to say, get your wallets ready for that September through December time. It's Christmas, not that Fallout.
Okay,
That's the board game.
Yeah.
There's a miniatures game coming for Fallout, if you guys don't know. It looks really neat.
But today's May 4th, y'all.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have specials. So we have a special Destiny tournament. It's the prequel tournament. So get your Jar Jar Binks decks ready. I don't think that's a thing in Destiny.
No, I hope not.
I wish it was. But I hope his dice roll is just all ones.
Just all blanks. There's
Yeah.
no reason to roll it.
Yeah. Me saying big doo-doo. But so we have special Star Wars events. We're going to be having Legion, X-Wing, Destiny going all day. We're going to be having all the Star Wars movies going on our TVs. And then we have some food specials. We have, Star Wars themed quesadillas and drink specials going on through the evening. Mark made a list of nautical puns for John. You give me that.
No.
We're not doing
I've
it.
already memorized it.
No. Let that sink in.
Actually, I'm going to have to just read it out loud
Yeah.
at some point. That was brilliant, Mark. Hilarious.
So we have quesadillas. We have chicken quesadillas. We have veggie quesadillas. We have $1 off Land Shark and Dragon's Breath for you guys joining us. So if you have a craving for Star Wars, or Tex-Mex food. We got you covered, and then some.
And then if you don't want Star Wars, there's still Friday Night Fights.
Yes, so we still have 40K Friday Night Fights going on this evening.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Expect a lot of folks up here. It's been growing week by week, which I love to see. I love to see all these like small scale battles going on. Have you tried out your sisters in Friday Night Fights yet?
Not yet.
Are you
Still trying to
going
get
to?
enough of it. Like, yeah, I might.
Okay, well, good. Matt's been working on Sisters of Battle. Matt is doing a public service for all of you guys because the moment he finishes his old school Sisters of Battle list is the moment they're going to release the Plastic Sisters.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, so everyone thank Matt who wants to play Plastic Sisters. He's doing this for the rest of you. Not for himself, but for you guys. Thanks, Games Workshop.
Public service.
Yeah. It's like getting your car washed right before a rainstorm. So
Push back to June, Fallout is. Thank you,
Okay.
Dave. Thanks, Dave. Where's Dave?
And thank you for wording that like Yoda.
In an Irish accent. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yoda, you are not. Ignore you, we will.
Push back to June, Fallout is.
So yeah, Fallout game. We'll have updates. We'll be posting up on our Facebook page and website and all that as soon as we know more information about when it's coming in. Yeah, and let you guys know that you can get all those like cool new Fallout models, which are pretty neat.
So I'll have to read this out. This is
all right, I'm
really
going.
don't.
I'm going. Everyone.
and then we'll.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
You end the stream.
So Mark says a group of whales is a pod. Ideneth control the tides, so you call your units pods and issue a tide pod challenge. Let that sink in.
No.
Yep, we gotta end. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
I know, right?
And come out and play. I'm here with Legion all day, and then yeah, stuff is happening. It's good stuff. Come out and play, and we'll also have movies going on. We have episode 4 right now, which is a good place to start. So it's good times.
Oh yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, right now FFG is holding the World Championships for X-Wing.
Yes.
A local player, Charles Holcomb, who runs like a pseudo journeyman league here. He is 6-0 on his first day at
Wow.
top of the rankings. So we're going to be rooting for him. I think he starts his next round tomorrow.
Okay, sweet.
So good luck, Charles.
Good luck.
Beat him.
Yes, make it happen. Bye, everybody.